Welcome to JJ Academia, the channel for comprehensive learning resources tailored specifically for ICSE Grade 10 students. In today's video, we delve into Act 1, Scene 1 of Shakespeare's timeless masterpiece, Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar. Act 1, Scene 1. Synopsis. In Rome the people are taking a holiday to celebrate the triumphant return of Julius Caesar. The tribunes Marullus and Flavius try to shame the people into returning to their places of work by reminding them how much they loved Caesar's rival Pompey, whom Caesar has destroyed and whose sons he has just defeated. Enter Flavius, Marullus, and certain commoners, including a carpenter and a cobbler, over the stage. In Rome, everyone is having a day off to celebrate Julius Caesar's successful return. Two officials named Marullus and Flavius want to make the people feel bad for celebrating Caesar's return. They remind them about Pompey, who was Caesar's enemy. Caesar defeated Pompey and his sons. Flavius and Marullus, along with some regular people like a carpenter and a shoemaker, come onto the stage. Flavius, hence, home, you idle creatures, get you home. Is this a holiday? What, know you not? Being mechanical, you ought not walk. Upon a laboring day without the sign of your profession, speak, what trade art thou? Explanation, Flavius is commanding the commoners to go home, calling them lazy and idle. He questions whether it's a holiday and reminds them that as working people, they shouldn't be out and about without showing signs of their job. He demands to know what their professions are. Carpenter, why, sir, a carpenter. Marullus, where is thy leather apron and thy rule? What dost thou with thy best apparel on? You, sir, what trade are you? The carpenter responds politely, saying he's a carpenter, which means he works with wood. Marullus questions why the carpenter isn't wearing his work apron or carrying his tools. He asks him why he is dressed so nicely. Then he turns to another commoner and asks about their profession. Cobbler, truly, sir, in respect of a fine workman. I am but, as you would say, a cobbler. Marullus, but what trade art thou? Answer me directly. The cobbler responds with a bit of humbleness, acknowledging that he's just a cobbler or shoemaker, despite possibly being skilled at his craft. In summary, Flavius and Marullus are upset that the commoners are celebrating instead of working, and they question a carpenter and a cobbler about their professions. The carpenter says he's a carpenter, while the cobbler admits he's just a shoemaker. Marullus insists on a clear answer from the cobbler about his profession. Cobbler, a trade, sir, that I hope I may use with a safe conscience, which is indeed, sir, a mender of bad soles. Flavius, what trade, thou knave? Thou naughty knave, what trade? The cobbler responds respectfully, saying he hopes to do his job with integrity. He confirms that he's a shoemaker, specifically fixing worn-out shoe soles. Flavius repeats the question in a more aggressive tone, calling the cobbler names like knave and naughty. Cobbler, nay, I beseech you, sir, be not out with me. Yet if you be out, sir, I can mend you. Nay, I beseech you, sir, be not out with me. The cobbler is politely asking Flavius not to be angry or upset with him. Yet if you be out, sir, I can mend you. Here, the cobbler is using a pun. The phrase, if you be out, can mean, if you are angry or upset. So, the cobbler is saying, if you are upset with me, sir, I can mend you. Implying that he can fix Flavius's mood or make him feel better. It's a clever and light-hearted response from the cobbler, using his trade as a shoemaker to humorously suggest that he can mend Flavius's mood just like he mends shoes. The cobbler politely asks Flavius not to be angry with him. Then, in a playful manner, he says he can mend Flavius if he's upset. Marullus, what mean'st thou by that? Mend me, thou saucy fellow. Cobbler, why, sir, cobble you. Flavius, thou art a cobbler, art thou? Marilus doesn't understand the cobbler's joke and asks him to explain. He calls the cobbler saucy for making the remark. Overall, Marilus is responding to the cobbler's playful remark with a mixture of confusion and amusement, using wordplay of his own to continue the humorous exchange. The cobbler responds with a pun, using the word cobble to mean both mend shoes and mocking or teasing. It's a witty response to Flavius's earlier question. It's a clever and playful response from the cobbler, using his trade as a shoemaker to make a witty remark and engage in a bit of humor with Flavius. Flavius is confirming that the cobbler indeed works as a shoemaker by asking this question, "You are a cobbler, are you?" Cobbler: "Truly, sir, all that I live by is with the all that I meddle with no tradesman's matters nor women's matters, but withal I am indeed, sir, a surgeon to old shoes. When they are in great danger, I recover them. As proper men as ever trod upon neat's leather have gone upon my handiwork." In this line from Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, the cobbler is describing his occupation as a shoemaker in a clever and metaphorical way. The cobbler begins by affirming that his livelihood, or what he earns a living from, revolves around using an awl, which is a tool used in shoemaking to punch holes in leather. "I meddle with no tradesman's matters nor women's matters, but withal," here, the cobbler is saying that he doesn't involve himself in other trades or women's affairs. He's focusing on his own work as a cobbler. "I am indeed, sir, a surgeon to old shoes. When they are in great danger, I recover them." This is a metaphorical statement. The cobbler compares himself to a surgeon, but instead of operating on people, he operates on old shoes. When shoes are worn out or damaged, he recovers them by repairing them. "As proper men as ever trod upon neat's leather have gone upon my handiwork," the cobbler concludes by saying that many respectable men have walked on shoes he's repaired. This line emphasizes the quality and craftsmanship of his work. Overall, the cobbler's speech showcases his pride in his trade and his skill in repairing shoes, using vivid imagery and metaphorical language to convey the importance of his work. The cobbler explains that his livelihood depends solely on repairing shoes. He humorously refers to himself as a surgeon to old shoes, emphasizing his skill in fixing worn-out footwear. He assures Flavius that many respectable people have walked on shoes repaired by him. Flavius: "But wherefore art not in thy shop today? Why dost thou lead these men about the streets?" Flavius is asking why the cobbler is not present in his shop on this particular day. Flavius is questioning why the cobbler is leading a group of men around the streets instead of attending to his work in his shop. Overall, Flavius's questions convey his frustration with the commoners for not being at work on a laboring day and instead engaging in leisure activities or celebrations. He is trying to understand the reasons behind their behavior and emphasize the importance of labor and productivity. Cobbler: "Truly, sir, to wear out their shoes, to get myself into more work. But indeed, sir, we make holiday to see Caesar and to rejoice in his triumph." The cobbler humorously explains that he's leading people around the streets to wear out their shoes, hoping to get more business for himself. He then admits that they're celebrating Caesar's triumph, which is why they're not working. The cobbler responds truthfully that he's leading people around to wear out their shoes, meaning to cause their shoes to become worn or damaged. By doing so, he hopes to create more work for himself, as people will need their shoes repaired or replaced. Here, the cobbler acknowledges that they are taking a holiday to celebrate Caesar's triumphant return to Rome. He implies that the celebration is an important event that they don't want to miss, even if it means sacrificing a day's work. The cobbler's response illustrates the conflict between work and celebration. While acknowledging the importance of his trade and the need for work, he also recognizes the significance of honoring Caesar's return and participating in the festivities. Marilus: "Wherefore rejoice? What conquest brings he home? What tributaries follow him to Rome to grace in captive bonds his chariot wheels? Marilus, you blocks, you stones, you worse than senseless things. Oh, you hard hearts, you cruel men of Rome, knew you not Pompey? Marilus questions why the people are celebrating and asks what victory Caesar has achieved. Marilus wonders if there are any conquered nations or leaders following Caesar back to Rome, their heads bowed in submission, to decorate his chariot wheels as prisoners of war. Marilus insults the people, calling them blocks and stones, implying that they are dull and without intelligence. Marilus criticizes the people for forgetting about Pompey, Caesar's rival, and accuses them of being heartless and cruel. Marilus, many a time and oft have you climbed up to walls and battlements, to towers and windows, yea, to chimney tops, your infants in your arms, and there have sat the livelong day, with patient expectation, to see great Pompey pass the streets of Rome. And when you saw his chariot but appear, have you not made an universal shout, that Tiber trembled underneath her banks to hear the replication of your sounds made in her concave shores? Here, Marilus reminds the people how eagerly they used to wait to see Pompey, even climbing up high places with their babies in their arms, patiently waiting for him to pass by. Marilus recalls how the people would cheer loudly when they saw Pompey's chariot, causing even the Tiber River to tremble with the echoes of their shouts. Marilus, and do you now put on your best attire? And do you now cull out a holiday? And do you now strew flowers in his way that comes in triumph over Pompey's blood? Marilus, be gone. Run to your houses, fall upon your knees, pray to the gods to intermit the plague that needs must light on this ingratitude. Marilus commands the people to go home, kneel down, and pray to the gods to stop the plague that will surely come as punishment for their ingratitude towards Pompey. Marilus questions why the people are now dressing nicely, declaring a holiday, and throwing flowers in Caesar's path, who is coming back victorious over Pompey's defeat. Flavius, go, go, good countrymen, and for this fault assemble all the poor men of your sort, draw them to Tiber banks, and weep your tears into the channel, till the lowest stream do kiss the most exalted shores of all. Flavius tells the commoners to go and gather together all the poor people like themselves. He instructs them to go to the banks of the Tiber River and cry until their tears flow into the river, filling it up until even the highest parts of the riverbank are touched by the water. Flavius is suggesting that the commoners should feel so guilty for celebrating Caesar's return that they should cry until their tears fill the river, symbolizing the depth of their wrongdoing. Flavius, cheer their basest metal be not moved. They vanish tongue-tied in their guiltiness. Go you down that way towards the Capitol. This way will I disrobe the images if you do find them decked with ceremonies. In this part of the scene, Flavius is observing the commoners as they exit and reflects on their reaction to being chastised. Flavius observes as the common people leave the scene. Flavius reflects on whether the commoners' lowest qualities or character traits have been stirred or affected by the confrontation. He observes that the commoners leave without saying anything, indicating that they feel guilty or ashamed of their actions. Flavius further instructs Marilus to go in one direction while he goes in another, indicating their intention to take action separately. Flavius instructs Marilus to remove any decorations or adornments from the images of Caesar if they are found to be decorated for the celebrations. Overall, this passage shows Flavius's determination to enforce discipline and maintain order, as well as his vigilance in ensuring that Caesar's triumph is not excessively celebrated. Marilus, may we do so? You know it is the feast of Lupercal. Marilus reminds Flavius that it's the feast of Lupercal, a significant religious celebration in ancient Rome. This implies that there may be religious or cultural considerations to take into account before carrying out their actions. Overall, Marilus's question reflects his awareness of the religious significance of the day and his uncertainty about whether their actions would be appropriate given the circumstances. Flavius, it is no matter. Let no images be hung with Caesar's trophies. I'll about and drive away the vulgar from the streets, so do you too, where you perceive them thick. Flavius dismisses Marilus's concern about the feast of Lupercal and declares that it doesn't matter. He orders that no decorations or images should be displayed to celebrate Caesar's triumph. He then says he will go and chase away the common people from the streets, and he instructs Marilus to do the same wherever he sees crowds gathering. Flavius is determined to prevent any further celebrations of Caesar's return and wants to remove any signs of honor or reverence towards him. He sees it as his duty to maintain order and discipline among the people. Flavius, these growing feathers plucked from Caesar's wing will make him fly an ordinary pitch, who else would soar above the view of men and keep us all in servile fearfulness? Flavius metaphorically compares Caesar's growing power to feathers on a bird's wing. By preventing Caesar from being overly praised or celebrated, Flavius believes he can keep Caesar from becoming too powerful and intimidating. Flavius is wary of Caesar's increasing influence and wants to prevent him from becoming too dominant over the people. He believes that by keeping Caesar humble, they can avoid being controlled by him. Flavius's speech reveals his determination to curb Caesar's rise to power and prevent him from being idolized by the people. He sees it as necessary to maintain a balance of power and prevent Caesar from becoming overly authoritarian. Exit. As we conclude our exploration of Act 1, Scene 1 of Julius Caesar, I hope you found our line-by-line explanation insightful and helpful in your preparation for the ICSE English Literature exams. By breaking down the dialogue, analyzing the characters, and unraveling the themes, we aim to provide you with a deeper understanding and appreciation of this iconic play. Stay tuned to JJ Academia for more educational content tailored to your ICSE Grade 9 and 10 curriculum. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for updates on future videos. Thank you for joining us on this literary journey, and best of luck with your studies.